Have you ever found yourself saying yes to those special projects or commitments that you wanted to say no to? We're going to dive into how to say no and how to deal with that situation. Hi everyone, I'm Madeline Mayfield and welcome to College Girl Boss, an empowerment podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about setting boundaries and how to protect your time and energy. Setting boundaries is so important, especially in college, because people are going to ask you to do things all the time. My special guest this week is Sanaya.
Hey, y'all.
Sanaya, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
I am a senior marketing major pursuing a minor in sports management. I'm expected to graduate next semester, so super excited for that.
Where do you work? What do you like to do for fun?
Right now, I work at Walmart, grinding for real. I like to do a lot of things for fun. I like to travel. I like to create things. I really like graphic design. That's really my area when it comes to like marketing, the more creative side.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, so I know that you're a good worker, so do the people at Walmart ask you to work shifts all the time?
Oh my goodness, yes. They're always like, oh, you want to stay a little bit later? Like, no, not really, but...
Is that how you say it? Like, how do you tell them no in that situation?
In that situation, I'll be like, I would, but sorry, I can't. Like, I have something to do if I do have to tell them no, so...
So you come up with a reason?
Basically, yeah, basically.
So it's a no, but I have this
yeah,
XYZ. Okay.
Yeah.
What are boundaries? Like, how would you describe to somebody that doesn't know what a boundary is?
I would say a boundary is basically that line that you have to set that you'll tell people like, okay, you can't, something that others can't cross basically for you. Like you could have emotional boundaries, physical boundaries when it comes to work, school, just about anything, like even social media, just something you have to set for yourself to know like, okay, this is my limit.
So setting your limit can apply to so many different areas, whether it's friendships, relationships, academics, or even your work-life balance. I am a firm believer in protecting your peace at all costs because, I don't know why. But
that's a big one though. That's important. You just feel it, like.
Yeah,
definitely.
because if I don't feel good, I'm not going to be productive. I'm not going to be happy with the situation. And I was really bad at setting boundaries.
Definitely.
Have you always been good at setting boundaries or no?
No, not at all. Definitely when I came in like as a freshman in college, when I first started getting involved with organizations on campus, it was definitely hard setting a boundary when it came to like my social life or like, you know, just with other people. Like, oh, can you help me do this? Oh, you want to come this place with me? It would be hard for me to say no a lot of times when I knew I had other stuff to do. So I definitely had to learn setting boundaries.
You're such a naturally helpful person, too. Like, I remember asking Sanaya to help me with Strawberry Jubilee and, like, helping me pick up.
Yeah.
And you've always been such a helpful person.
Thank you. I try.
So how do you navigate that helpful side and that side of you that's, like, I got to set a boundary, I have to say no?
I have to start telling myself that, like, it's not going to make me a bad person if I tell someone no and I don't help them, like, one time. Like, I know that I do help people a lot, so I feel like it just shouldn't, it shouldn't be much damage if I do have to tell them no eventually. Of course, I did start to feel, like, a little guilty when I would tell someone no, but I just had to, like, just feel it through, just, tell myself, like, it's really not that big of a deal at the end of the day. Like, it won't be the end of the world, if that makes sense.
I like that you touched on feeling guilty for saying no, because that's something that I've faced a lot too. Because when you tell someone no, especially being an empathetic person, you don't want to be told no.
Yep.
So if you're always putting that line out to be selfless, you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of your peace, your time, your energy. And so you can't do all those things well when you stretch yourself too thin. Boundaries are really essential to relieving that stress, that burnout, and just being happy with where you are in that moment. And it's really important to take that self-care, and it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to say, well, I just don't have the energy to today. There is nothing wrong with that. But be upfront and be honest with the person, so that it doesn't seem like you're just making excuses or just telling them a story. Because people can tell when you're not being genuine.
So the tip of today is setting boundaries around your time is one of the most important ways to protect your energy. We definitely need to learn how to do that. You quickly realize after setting boundaries, like, okay, say if you tell someone, no, like, I can't come do this today because I have something to do, you'll feel better, like, later on knowing that you got what you needed to get done. So.
Absolutely. I really understand why my mom used to always say no. Like, did you have a mom like that? Okay, so my parents would always say no, and I feel like it was because we lived so far. Because, I drove. We kind of, like, lived in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So my mom would always say no. And I'd be like, I'm going to go ask Dad. And then my dad would be like, well, what'd your mom say? And I was like, oh. But I understand it now, because I think if I had kids, I would really... I wouldn't be able to say yes to everything. Oh, you want to go to a party? Do you have a ride? You know?
Right, yeah.
So I really understand that. What advice would you give to someone who is a people pleaser? So how would you give them, like, how would you give a people pleaser advice to set boundaries?
Okay, that's a good question.
Also, follow up, are you a people pleaser?
No.
Okay, good. That's such a people pleaser.
I'm a very helpful person, but I don't think I've gotten to the point where I've been like a hard down people pleaser. Yeah. I used to like know someone who was, and I felt like when I was trying to help her, my advice to her was very blunt. Like, they'll be okay if you tell them no. Yeah. Just being very straightforward with it. You just have to tell that person, like, look, think about it. Would they even do the same for you? That's another thing I would point out, just to, try to get them out of that habit of always saying yes. Just, like, put some more thought into it, because I feel like people who are people pleasers, they're very impulsive. Like, they'll immediately say yes without thinking.
Oh, I like that. Would they do the same for you? I think that is such a great point.
Yes.
Because if you're helping someone out who is going to reciprocate that energy and really give back to you, I think that it's okay to say yes. And also, they will really understand if you need to say no. And they understand you. They're probably your friend or somebody you're close to. But if they're not going to do the same for you, oh my gosh, do not spend your time and energy helping them out. Because at the end of the day, if you're reaching and extending your hand to someone who's not going to do the same for you, it's exhausting.
It is. I feel like once you start setting boundaries and you become less of a people pleaser, it's very, like, beneficial, because in the end, you will see, like, who really is your friend, who's really there for you, because, like you said, they should understand. If you have to say no, they should understand. And if they don't, well, that's just showing what type of friend you have.
Okay, have you ever had a friend that's just really draining? And how did you deal with that situation?
Yes, I had a friend a long time ago who was very draining, and, like, I didn't mind being a listening ear to, like, her issues or problems or anything, but it was when I would try to give advice. Like, you're always complaining to me about a certain topic, so I'm trying to, like, give advice, help her, right? But her response to that advice would be very negative, so I'm like, well, you're just going to keep telling me all of this negative stuff every day. I'm trying to help you find a solution, but it's like you just want to sit in your bubble and just, be negative about it. That was basically like, okay, I did tell her at some point, like, okay, I'm gonna need some space from you, because this is just too much. Like, if you don't want me to help you, then I'm not the type of person to sit up there and complain about something all day. Like, I'm gonna try to find a solution,
And how did you tell her that you didn't want to hang out with her in your way?
I don't think we ever had like a direct interaction when it came to
Yeah.
that. We just like gradually drifted
Distance.
apart. Yeah, like if it would be like an invitation to come hang out or something, in my mind I'm like, I know she's gonna sit there and complain the whole time. So like now I just have to politely decline.
Take yourself out of the situation of, oh, would they do it for me, or can you handle it right now? Can you
Right.
actually have the mental capacity to deal with the situation? As a reformed people pleaser, that was one thing. Like, I was always getting burnt out because I was helping other people, and I wanted to be that person that's, the golden rule. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. But if they're not treating you well, they're not worth your time.
Exactly.
And I mean, only you can determine that.
They're reacting negatively to you telling them like, okay, this isn't gonna work. They should understand too that you have to put yourself first.
I think that my life is so much more peaceful. I mean, I had a lot of friends that were just not beneficial for my life.
Definitely.
It was fun, but it wasn't beneficial for me, and it was only hurting me.
Right.
Like, it wasn't uplifting me, making me the person I wanted to be,
Yeah.
the woman I want to be. And so I just kind of, like you did, I just distanced myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're watching this podcast today, I wish you nothing but love
Yep.
and greatness in your life. But not everybody's meant to be in my life, and
Right.
it's okay to accept that. I just got out of a 3-year relationship.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And
How's that been?
I'm not gonna lie, it's been really rough. It's only been like a week.
Really?
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm kind of in the same boat. It's been like a month.
Really?
Yes.
Like a 3-year relationship?
Not
too?
not that long. It was like 8
Longer.
months, but it was like
Yeah.
my longest relationship. So
Yeah. And it's really hard, but at the end of the day, I just tell myself, instead of people like telling me I'm sorry, like I want people to congratulate me. Like, I'm in a new
Right.
season of my life. Nothing but opportunity.
Mhm.
And while I am sad because the person that I'm no longer with, like, is my best friend, it's okay. And it's human to be sad and to
Right.
grieve and to move on. And, God always has a plan.
Right.
So maybe we end up together, maybe we don't.
Right.
But either way, you just got to focus on that positive.
Yo.
All right. When you set a boundary, what do you prioritize first? So what are your main priorities as far as social, academic, work, and other areas that you might have?
Most of the time, I feel like in this season of my life, school has definitely been a top priority. School
Yeah.
and my mental health. I feel like I learned a lot mentally towards the beginning of the school year. So when I came into this semester, I felt like, okay, this was a fresh start. This is my chance to really set the boundaries that I know I've needed to set. It was just been like a really different experience compared to like the
Yeah.
past school years. This school year is really like a completely different tone. So
In what way? Like, what has really stuck out to you this semester, whereas last semester?
Like the people I'm surrounded with,
Oh, okay.
definitely had to set some boundaries. So,
No, I love that you have surrounded yourself with better people. And I'm not going to lie, just like from past semesters, like seeing you at school, I do feel like you are happier. Like I remember I'd see you in the hallway or like class or whatever. And I do think that you are happier. And I'm happy to see that from you.
thank you.
Do you get FOMO, fear of missing out?
Oh yes, definitely.
Yeah?
That's been the
Okay,
biggest
okay.
challenge when trying to set like the social boundaries. I'm like, no, I can't really go to this party. I know I don't need to. But I'm like, oh, what if it's like the best party ever and I'm just missing out? Not even with like just parties, like just definitely like just events in general,
Yeah.
especially around campus. Freshman year and sophomore year, I used to love going to like campus events. So now trying to like focus more on schoolwork and kind of leave that behind because I was more involved with campus events last
Yeah.
school year. So definitely had to hit the brakes with that one and set a boundary, knowing I can't do that. Had to focus. Like I said, prioritize the schoolwork this semester for sure.
How would you say I'm not gonna go? So like instead of saying I'm not gonna go. I don't want to go. How would you tell someone no to go into a social event that you really don't want to go to? Like in your most respectful way.
I would tell them like, I'm trying to think of a time where I have had this type of question. I think the last time someone asked me that and it was just some place I didn't really want to go, I would definitely bring up like schoolwork or work. Like, not to sound like, oh, I'm just trying to throw excuses. Like, I'm trying to tell them the truth too. I just try to keep it real with them. Like, let's save our time. Like, you can still go if you want to, but I'm going to save my time. I have other things I could be doing, especially schoolwork, or I just want to relax before I have to, like, go to work or something. So
yeah,
I just try to keep it up front with them.
What about setting boundaries with like group members in your class? Because you just were talking about your group.
Yes, my group project with for one of my sports management classes. I would say I feel like it's more easy for me to set boundaries with like group projects because like if I already know if I have a lot on my plate, I'm definitely going to tell you no. Like like when it comes to group projects, if you're not putting in enough effort to, like, I feel like all the group members should be equally putting in the same amount of work. So if I see someone's not doing that and like they're expecting me to do something, I would just have to tell them like, look, this is what else we could be doing. Like, I try to be, respectful about it. I'll try to point out like what else we have left to do for the project, and I'll be like, okay, here, this is what else we have left to do. Yeah. Do you want to pick up any one of these tasks? Try to like push them, I guess.
I don't expect a lot from you, but I expect the bare minimum. Right. So if you're not doing the bare minimum, I had a group where I missed the presentation day, or the day where everybody picked groups. So I was out. I skipped or something. Oh my gosh. So a few weeks later, I didn't know. Nobody told me. So everybody had picked a group already. And so I was like, okay, well, who's going to be in my group? So she was like, well, we have this person and this person. Well, it's the people that never come to school. Oh. So I was in a group with 2 girls and a guy. And one of the girls had just found out she was pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was like crazy. So I'm like in this group with these people, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? One girl didn't contribute anything. This one guy contributed some, but not really, and the other girl actually really helped a lot. So I ended up doing a lot of the project. I'm really good at setting school boundaries because my success, if you're hindering that, I'm not going to pay you any attention because I know what I want, and I'm not going to let somebody bring me down. Right. So now I think it's really important that you pick great groups, sit with people, and make friends that are gonna help you with those group projects rather than the people that are fun, because chances are they're gonna make you do the whole project.
Definitely.
Okay, how important do you think it is to set digital boundaries?
I think it's very important because social media, we obviously consume a lot of it every day. Everyone does. And social media is not what it used to be at all. Yeah. And depending on what you consume on each platform, it could really affect your mood or how you're feeling. Like, you don't want to wake up and see something negative on social media. So it's important to limit yourself to how much you use it and to also limit exactly what you see.
Yeah. So what's one way that you set that boundary?
At the beginning of this year, I basically did a social media cleanse. I looked at my following list. I determined okay, is this account posting things I really want to see? Is it negative content? Is it just criticism, arguing? Just basically all around negative stuff. I removed a lot of accounts, and I started picking up more accounts with shared interests as mine. I follow a lot of girls who work in the marketing field, graphic designers, athletes, women that work in sports, basically just aligning
So aligning them with shared interests,
yes.
People that, yeah.
Yes, I had a tongue twister there, but definitely just started following accounts that, would motivate me day to day, just, more positive things okay, I could see myself doing what they're doing, basically putting myself in their shoes.
I think that everyone should start involving themselves and do a social media cleanse. Get rid of those negative people, those people that are not helping you to become who you want to be, and you will be so much better, trust me. And take that time. If you need to disconnect for a while, that is perfectly fine. And that is also another form of boundaries, is to disconnect and really reconnect with what you want to align yourself with. What is the best take all from today, and what would you recommend someone do today to set a boundary for themselves?
I believe the best takeaway is to start telling people no, like as soon as possible. If you have a friend that's constantly draining you and you feel the need to set a boundary, start telling them no for, protecting your peace, I believe it's time to just go ahead and do that. Tell them no, decline the next invitation, do what you have to do, and set that boundary right now. The sooner you do it, the better.
I agree, because the sooner you start, the faster you'll see results and the better you will feel by cutting those negative people out of your life. Get rid of them. And you can be respectful and get rid of them. Respectfully get rid of them.
Right, respectfully. And we're about to go into a new year. Start the new year off right. Surround yourself with better people. Start right now.
Yes, start right now. I encourage you to set one boundary today, this week, as soon as possible. And whether this is with your academics, your Instagram timeline, getting rid of those negative people, or just socially setting those boundaries for yourself, because you will feel better. And I would love to know what kind of boundaries you guys struggle with. So let me know in the comments box what you struggle with. Thank you so much to Sanaya for tuning into this Hot Mess Express today. It was so wonderful to get to hear your story and really learn more about how you set boundaries. And thank you everyone for watching today's podcast episode on boundaries. Podcast episodes are released every Wednesday on Spotify and YouTube. And as always, I'm so excited to start this journey with you. Yay!